Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can tell from the title of today's video, I have a problem. Essentially, I have another book haul for you guys. There were so many books that I wanted to pick up that I have had my eye on for a while. They had a big sale on, I mean I got these in a bunch of different places. I got them from Amazon, Book Depository. Some of these were gifts from friends. Some of these were gifts from family. But I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about all of the books. This might not even be all of the books that I've gotten in the last month. Honestly, I need to stop. If you guys follow my vlog, you'll know that I am kind of on a ban right now. I'm not buying anything. I'm like occasionally buying coffee and that's it, because I am just trying to save money. I'm trying to set aside money for like emergencies and stuff, and really honestly that money has just been going to books, and books are not an emergency. So this is going to be the last haul you see on my channel for a while. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. I do have a lot of different ones though. I have a lot of manga, I have a lot of adult books, I have a good selection of Stephen King books as well, but I did want to sit down and just kind of show you guys what I have got recently. Like I said, I'm not going to go too in-depth on these because they were books that I've seen around that I really wanted to pick up. So hopefully you guys like this video, but I'm going to go ahead and just get started. So the first book that I have here is a book that I believe they made into a show, and that'd be Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. This is about a woman who moves to a town, and she kind of is like a single mother, I believe, and she befriends these two other moms who have really dark secrets, but something happens involving all of their children, and there's a lot of rumors and lies and deceit and things like that started happening in this book. Like I said, I know that this is a show, and I believe Reese Witherspoon spoke very highly about this, and I'm pretty sure that this is was at one point in time an Oprah book club pick, and that is why I picked this up. If you've read this, let me know down below. I'm an idiot. It says now a major HBO series on the front of it, and it's one of those stickers that you can't take off. But I like the cover nonetheless, and I'm really excited to read this. I tried to pick up more adult thriller books in this haul as well. And the next book I have here is actually a book that I have seen all over BookTube, all over Instagram, all over Twitter. Everybody has been reading it and telling me that I need to read it, and that would be The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is about an actress, I believe, and she's telling her story and trying to, you know, just go over her life and what has happened in her life, and obviously this does have something to do with her 7 husbands. I've tried to avoid spoilers for this book. I did not want to know what it was about because everyone I know that has read it has loved it, and I wanted to go in completely shocked and surprised. So I don't know a whole lot about this, but let me know down below if you've read this and you've liked it, because I have yet to meet someone who hasn't. So the next book I have here is a book that I've been wanting to read for a while, and once again, I know that this has Chinese American families in it. I know it has a story about adoption, but I know it's more so about a town that is very meticulous. Like the houses are painted a certain way, people act a certain way, and then a mother-daughter duo kind of moves to the town and upends all of that, and that would be Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I wanted to read this book for a very long time. You guys know I've spoken about it. This cover, by the way, may be the most beautiful cover I've ever seen. This is so my aesthetic, like the blues and the reds. I just love it. I really want to read something by Celeste. I know a lot of people who said that they really liked this book, but they didn't like Everything I Never Told You. So I'm just excited to see which one of these I actually like the most. And I'm so excited to be getting into more adult books again. I'm really interested in finding new ones. So I did try to pick ones that I know a lot of people I know have read and really loved. And the last book I have here, I'm not going to sit on for too long, or the last book of this set that I have here, is a book that I have on my Kindle, but I wanted to own it. Also, this cover is really beautiful, and that's part of the reason why I bought it. And that would be The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This is a book that is more of a dystopian book. It's about a group of women who are able to have babies, so they are sent to kind of live with families, and they have sex with the husbands of those families to produce children, because children are a commodity in this society because people aren't able to have children anymore. And if you guys are not familiar, they did make a show out of this. The show is a bit different, but it's still phenomenal. I would recommend watching it. I need to watch the second season, but I did want to pick up a physical copy of the book to have. And the next book I have is actually a book that my mom sent me, and I have seen people talk about this book here and there, and I can't remember who was talking about it that really sold me on it, but that would be The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. Essentially what this book follows is our character Anna. She is sort of a recluse, and she lives across the street from this family that moves in, and she sees something that she's not supposed to see from this family. Something traumatic happens, and she is kind of brought into this whirlwind from what I've heard, but I hear that this book isn't what you think it's going to be because you don't necessarily know what Anna saw from the family. You don't know what's going on. But I'm really excited to read this because this is obviously a thriller novel and I want to read more thrillers, so I am really excited to read this. If you've read this, once again, please leave it down below. I cannot for the life of me remember who spoke about this that really made me want to read it, but I just remember from his description the little bit that he talked about that I was like, all right, I want to read that, but I can't remember necessarily a whole lot of what it is about. Can anyone else relate? I'm sure you can. And the next book that I actually got from my mom is The Beginning of Everything by Robin Schneider. And I actually had this on my Amazon wish list and she ordered it for me and brought it to work for me, which by the way is the sweetest thing ever. Get you a mom who understands your reading habits. But this essentially follows our main character, Ezra. He's supposed to be like homecoming king. He's on the football team, but then everything changes because his girlfriend cheats on him. He's in an accident that shatters his leg. And when he leaves his girlfriend and starts to try to figure out what he wants to do with his life, he starts to kind of fall in love with someone he didn't think he was going to fall in love with. This just sounds like a read that has a lot of loss and growth and obviously like a little bit of love story, and it is a contemporary, and that is why I put it on my list. I don't read a whole lot of contemporaries. That is all I know about this book though, but I feel like I know a good amount, but I don't want to know anymore because I want to avoid spoilers. But also the cover is really cute, and I just bless my mom for ordering this for me. Honestly, like I have the best parents. The next book I have here is actually recommended to me from Destiny, and that would be To Be Honest. This is a book about fat representation and about how fat is not a bad word. This follows our main character, Savannah, and she's just trying to get through her senior year, but her mom actually goes on, I believe it's her mom, goes on a weight loss show, and she tries to kind of bully Savannah into losing weight, into monitoring what she eats, and she meets a new boy at school who also has, you know, like issues of his own, I believe, when it comes to his body, or at least other issues, and they sort of start to help each other and they develop like a relationship. I was so excited to read this when I saw it when Destiny did a review for it. I'll leave her review down below. That I had to pick it up. I actually pre-ordered it. I've had it for a little while, but also can we talk about how beautiful this book is? Like, this may be the most beautiful book, like naked book, that I own on my shelves, but I'm really excited to read this. I wanted more plus size rep as well, so I think this will be, from what I've heard, a very good option for that. Alright, the next books that I have here are my Stephen King books. I wanted to start trying to finish my collection, and I don't know, I thought it was time. A few of these I didn't really have any desire to read, but I did want to pick up. The first one that I have here was actually sent to me by a friend of mine. Her name is Stephanie. I'll actually link her channel down below. She does have a YouTube channel, and that would be It. I'm not going to go too in depth on this. Obviously, everybody knows what It is. There's a movie about it. It is a horror book. This is, I think, one of the last great horror novels that Stephen King did. It is about Pennywise, who does steal children from the town that they live in. That's really all that I'm going to kind of go into. I have yet to read it. I have yet to see the movie, but I do know quite a bit about it, and I'm really excited to finally own this. And she found the edition that I wanted at Half Price Books and sent it to me, and it's ginormous. And the next book I have here is actually Christine. I really like the editions that I got of these books. They are done by Hodder. Hodder is the publisher of these. Christine is obviously about a car, and Arnie, I think, is the main character's name. Yeah, Arnie. Arnie becomes obsessed with Christine, this car that was like broke down and abandoned, but there's something about the car that starts burrowing into Arnie's mind and starts kind of poisoning his mind and sort of controlling him in a way. I'm really excited to read this. Once again, this is a book that I did not own. I don't know why I didn't own this. I am genuinely intrigued by the storyline, so I think it's just one of those books that I kept assuming that I had, because I'm at the point now where I own so many Stephen King books that I've made a list to carry around with me to be like, I don't have that book, I need to purchase it. So Christine was one of them. And the next book I picked up is a book that I've actually read before, but I don't own anymore, and that'd be On Writing. This is obviously Stephen King's dialogue on the craft. He does sort of go over how to be an effective writer, how to write differently, how to, you know, write effectively as well. This is, from what I've heard and from what I have read, even though I'm not necessarily a writer at this point, a really, really good resource if you're looking for any kind of advice on where to start. And the next book I have here is actually a book that they once again made into a Netflix special, and that would be Gerald's Game. This is about a couple who goes to a cabin to try to kind of resurrect their marriage, and the husband is kind of into some kinky stuff, and something happens and he actually dies, and he dies on top of his wife, and she is left to kind of distinguish between what's happening in her mind and what's actually happening in the cabin itself. And this book is pretty messed up from what I've heard. I mean, the show was also really messed up from what I've heard. I did not watch it though because I have not read the book, obviously. But once again, this is another one of those really cool covers that I haven't seen anywhere, and I'm super excited to read this. Now, the next book I have here, I'm pretty sure they also made into a movie, and I'm pretty sure I've seen it, and that would be Misery. But this follows on author Paul Sheldon, who kills off his main character, heroine of his books, and decides that it's time to get down to some real writing. But he's actually in a car accident, and he's saved by a woman named Annie Wilkes, I think is how you say her last name. Yeah, Wilkes. And it's not the saving that he thinks he needs. He is obviously in a car accident and he thinks that he is sent to the hospital, but instead of her calling for help, she actually takes him back to her house. And the reason why this is really funny is Annie is actually a nurse, so she has a lot of pain-killing drugs. She's able to actually take care of him. That's why she doesn't call the cops. But the reason why it's funny is because she's actually a huge fan of Misery, the woman from the novels that he was writing, and she is his #1 fan, and she is not happy with what he has done with the series, and she does kind of take that out on him. I do think I actually remember this being made into a movie because I think I remember her breaking his legs with a hammer in the movie. So I'm really excited to have this finally. I don't know why I kept overlooking this one. This was one of the ones that I thought I owned. Actually, I'm looking at it right now on my shelves. I definitely owned this book already. Damn it! Whatever, now I have a second one. Now the next book I have here, I'm not super excited to read, but I am kind of excited to read. This seems to be more of a fantasy novel, and I wasn't really expecting that, and that'd be The Eyes of the Dragon. This is a book that I know very little about, except for a son is accused of murdering, I believe, his father, and he's put in a tower, or he murders the court magician or something like that. Somebody is murdered, and the reason why I wasn't really excited about this is because it is more of a fantasy novel, and I don't know how I feel about Stephen King fantasy novels, but I did want to own it, and I do want to give it a try because I love him so much and I like his writing style so much. But if I remember right, this is an older novel, so his older stuff can be a little bit hit or miss for me, but I did want to pick this up. If you've read this one, please let me know what you thought of it, because I'm really interested to see if it's as much fantasy as it leads me to believe it is. And the next two novels that I have here are little paperback editions, and this is Carrie. Yes, I didn't own Carrie. I'm not going to go too in-depth on Carrie. Essentially, it is about a girl who is bullied, but she is able to... Well, I can't remember what it's called. I think she has telekinesis. Is that what it's called? She's able to do shit with her mind, and the things that she does are not good. She lives in a home with her mother. Her mother is very abusive. Her mother is very religious. Carrie is raised to be very religious, but shit goes haywire in this book, and I'm really excited to read it because, yeah, I haven't read Carrie. I'm really sorry, but I've seen the movie like 100 times. I know what happens. I know the whole plot line. I know about the pig's blood. I know about her period. Like, I know about this book. But yes, I haven't experienced it in book form, and I think it's just time to finally do that. And the next book I have here is actually the last Stephen King book I have here is a short story collection, and that would be Night Shift. I did not own this. I don't know if I've ever read this either. All I know is that it's a short story collection. I adore his short story collections. I don't want to know what stories are necessarily in here. I don't want to spoil myself for any of them. I don't know if any of them were made into movies or shows because he likes to do that. But I'm just really excited to finally have this. I wish it was the big hardcover edition, but I'll read this and see if I like it. And if I do, I'll buy the hardcover because I love the hardcover editions of his big short story compilations. All right, and the last little bit that I'm going to get into is actually all of the manga that I have purchased over. Most of this was done the last 2 or 3 weeks. Whoops. Now the first two that I have here I think I've spoken about, but I don't think I've actually showed you guys in anything other than a vlog. But that would be, again, I have volumes 1 and 2. I have read the first one. I really like this. I think I gave it 4 stars because there's a little bit of slut shaming in the first one, but essentially what this follows is 2 characters who are celebrating their graduation. It's the last day of graduation. One of which is a bit of a recluse and people are sort of afraid of him, and the other one is a social butterfly and everybody really loves her. The main character, the boy, goes to a building that had the clubs in it, and he wanted to join a club or thought about joining a club his very first day of school, and he didn't join it. And he's there just looking at the building and looking at where the clubs used to be, and the girl shows up and becomes afraid of him and falls down the stairs and hits her head. And he tries to help her, and he falls down the stairs and hits his head. And they are essentially transported back to their freshman year. And what's really cool about this is they joined something called the Udan Club, which is a traditional cheerleading club, essentially. And there's only one member, and in the future, in their present time future, that club doesn't exist anymore. So he decides to join, and the popular girl gets roped into it. And the reason why this is kind of cool is the main character is less unpopular than he was, And the other girl who was super popular is very, very unpopular. And I thought it was really funny. And I really can't wait to read the second one because, like I said, genuinely, I just really enjoyed these so far. And the next book I have here is That Blue Sky Feeling. This book sounds so freaking cute, you guys. When I saw this on the shelves, I knew I had to buy it. This is about a boy named Noshiro who goes to a new school and he meets a boy named Sanada, and they have like a little relationship that kind of develops. I think this is a male-male romance, I'm pretty sure. Because Sanada doesn't have any friends because people assume that he is gay and they actually start to avoid him, but that doesn't deter Noshiro. He actually decides that he wants to become friends with him. It actually spurs him to want to become friends with him even more, which is why I'm thinking maybe there's a little bit of male-male romance in it. Also, I mean, guys, just look at the cover. Look how cute this is. This seemed like a book that I was just going to love. It seemed like a lighthearted, fun read, and that is why I ended up picking it up. Although I'm pretty sure it is also the Panels book club pick for next month. And the next books that I got here, I'm also not going to go too in-depth on because you guys have heard me speak about it. It'll be Your Names, Volume 2 and 3. I did finally pick these up. I did read the first one last month. It is one of the books that I actually finished. This is about two kids who, when they dream, they sort of switch bodies and they are able to kind of like help each other out. And I really liked that. But in the first one, they actually stop being able to switch bodies. So you don't really know kind of what happens. I have once again heard, I kind of spoke about this, that the movie is a million times better than the manga. But I'm still really excited to read these and then finally, hopefully, eventually pick up the movie. And perhaps the one that I'm the most excited about is I Hear the Sunspot, The Theory of Happiness. You guys have heard me speak about I Hear the Sunspot. This is the second one, the, I guess, continuation of the novel, I'm hoping. I don't know if this is a continuation or like a separate book or like a separate timeline or what it may be. I'm trying not to read anything about it. I really just need to read it. But this follows two main characters, one of which is deaf, one who is not, and they kind of develop a bond because the deaf boy can always hear the other boy's voice no matter what. And I just really like their relationship. And at the end of the first one, there was a little bit of like a hint at like a relationship. And I really, really want that. I stand that so hard. If you guys have read this, let me know if you liked it, if it was as great as the first one. And the last book I have here is my newest, most prized possession, and I'm not going to linger on it for too long because I feel like a lot of people have either seen this or read this or just know what it's about, but it's the Full Metal Alchemist, the Full Metal edition. This is the first one. I actually saw the second one in store and I was like, oh my god, I want that. And my husband's like, you don't own the first one. So I bought the first one. This is what it looks like on the inside. It's really friggin' pretty. I am so pumped to read this, you guys. I have obviously seen the anime and I know that there was a manga, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to read it because it is quite extensive and I'm like having trouble getting into mangas that already have a lot out. I want to kind of like start with something and go with it like as it grows, but I needed to pick this up. I couldn't pass it up. It is absolutely beautiful. I love that his fist kind of continues on to the second page, to the back of the book. If you guys are looking for, if you're really into Full Metal, I think that this is a beautiful edition to own. Also, they have, I don't know if you guys can see, there's like designs on the back and stuff. See it? Oh yeah. It's just beautiful and I needed to own it. I love the show and I'm really excited to read the manga finally. Alright guys, so that is it for my haul, and that will be the last haul for at least 3 or 4 months. I just need to take a break from buying so many books. I do not have room for all of this on my shelves anymore. I need to just chill for a little bit. But if you guys have read any of these and loved them, please let me know down below. If you've read any of these and hated them, also let me know down below so I can regret my purchase and learn my lesson to not buy books anymore. But I hope you guys are having a good week. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!